I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and weirdly enough I do have a few reviews that I have saved up, which I have the beard, but this didn't want to upload those yet. Maybe one after this one, so do like two at a time. But another viewer request, I try to do these once in a while, but the thing is, in a very humbling way, sorry, I've gotten like requests almost every day, sometimes multiple requests every day. Unfortunately, there's no way I can keep up, so once in a while I'll do one, but, you know, uh, there's no way I would be able to keep up. So once in a while I'll do it, but just to let people know, don't get mad if yours hasn't been done or whatever. I'll try to get to it one time, but, and then, again, this isn't a job. But either way, this is for KCOT44, which I think Michael Keane, in one of your DVD updates, I cannot remember for the life of me which one, I think you were asked about this film. I think it was a DVD update. I know it was one of your videos. You were asked about this film, Proteus. KCOT44, you can let me know if you asked Michael Keane or not, or maybe it was someone else. Maybe it was a different movie entirely. I could be, but I think it was this one. Again, I could be wrong entirely. But the film is Proteus from 1995. Now, it was written by John Brosnan. Now, John Brosnan was a guy who, I guess he wrote for a UK magazine called Starburst, which I actually remember that magazine because, weirdly enough, it was actually around here to buy, at least when I was growing up many, many years ago. And I remember getting a few issues of them, which is where they're selling the UK magazine in Iowa. Uh, But also, this is a guy, he was a novelist. He wrote the novel that they based Carnosaur on. I don't know if the novel is exactly the same as the movie. But he wrote the novel that this is based on back, I think, in 1983 called Slimer. So even though I wanted to call this a Leviathan ripoff, can't really do that because, again, the novel for this was written back in 1983. And Proteus, it's a film, again, not only was the novel written by John Brosnan, but he did the script for this. And it's written by Bob Keane. Now, Bob Keane, if the guy sounds familiar, Bob Keane is a big makeup effects guy. Apparently, he's directed a few other films since then, like a film called Heartstopper, which I haven't seen. But he's a big makeup effects guy. Like, the guy's done, he was a special makeup director for Dog Soldiers. He was a makeup designer for Warlock the Armageddon. Special makeup effects for Candyman, Waxwork 2. Probably most famous as special makeup effects designer for Hellraiser. He helped do the makeup for Hellraiser, and he also helped do on Hellbound Hellraiser 2, on Life Force, on Crawl. So he's done a lot of stuff in the makeup effects. A creature fabricator on the Dark Crystal. He helped do special effects on Hellraiser 3, Children of the Corn 2. There's a lot of makeup effects stuff. So good makeup effects artist. And he got to direct this film. Again, he's directed a few films since then. And the plot's fairly simple. You have a group of people who, they're heroin smugglers. And during the opening credits, their ship crashes because one of them fucked up. And they get to this oil rig. They get on the oil rig, and it seems like the oil rig is abandoned. Only they find out there was a biological experiment on board. There was a biological experiment that, of course, went awry. Apparently, there was this shark that they nicknamed Charlie, and it was something to do with, again, certain biological stuff. And they tested on the shark, and they thought the shark died, but it didn't. And then it sort of becomes sort of like John Carver's The Thing type of thing. And again, it did remind me of Leviathan, which granted I know the novel was written well before Leviathan, but still, it still made me think of it. Where it will kill its victims and then sort of absorb them. But after it absorbs them, it can look like them. It has their memories. And kind of, I think the word is amorphous. So sometimes it's like liquid once in a while, but like sometimes it looks like just this eyeball covered with muck that drips down, and usually just looks like other people. But sometimes it's like the personalities are trying to get out, like they're sort of taking control from Charlie, but then he brings it back. Of course, it's weird that it started off as a shark, but then, you know, the shark is, again, because it absorbs things, it retains their knowledge and memory, so I guess that's why. And basically these people, of course, it absorbs, I'll get that, sort of develops an addiction to the drug and starts chasing the drug smugglers. And you find out that the lead guy, he's actually an undercover cop. And actually his woman that he's with is an undercover cop as well. And they find a bunch of weapons there, and basically sort of cat and mouse chase. Now the film really, it was at most an okay time waster. Would I ever see it again? No. It didn't really do too much for me. I think mainly because I've seen films like this. Of course, John Carver's The Thing. But even stuff like, it's nothing like this, but Deep Star 6, Leviathan. I know K Cot 44. I know he said that this was much better than Leviathan. I have to wholeheartedly disagree. First and foremost, the cast in this does not measure up to stuff like Leviathan. You got Peter Weller, you got Amanda Pace, you got Richard Crenna, you got Daniel Stern, you got Ernie Hudson. Here, you got a bunch of no-name guys. I mean, really the only people, your main group is 6 people. The lead guy, who you find out he's actually an undercover cop, like DEA agent, is Craig Fairbrass. This is the guy, the lead guy. He was in Cliffhanger as one of the bad guys. He's the guy who is kicking the shit out of Michael Rooker, and he's talking about football, or as we know, soccer. And Michael Rooker goes, "Season's over, asshole," and blows him up, shoots him with a shotgun. That's Craig Fairbrass, and he's actually the lead in this. He was the only actor I cared for. The rest of the actors, like the woman who played his woman, then you have Paul character who's sort of a captain, and then Paul's woman. Then you have this guy who's kind of financed the whole thing, and his sort of bubble-headed woman. So you have those 6 people. Then don't know really any of the other cast members, except 2. You got Dud Bradley is actually in this, Penn himself. He comes in like at the tail end. I guess he's the guy who, financed the whole operation on the oil rig, and he came down at the end of the movie to find out what's going on, and then, of course, he gets killed, and he has his old age makeup. So Dub Rat was in it for not even 5 minutes. You actually have Rico Ross. He's actually a guy who was a security guy on the oil rig. And he'd come across, the 6 people come across Rico Ross, and he's like, follow me, there's something chasing me. But then they're ready with their guns, and they turn around and they find out Rico Ross is actually Charlie, the creature. And Rico Ross, he played Frost in Aliens, you know. He's a guy who's like, what are we supposed to do, man? Use harsh language? You know, Frost. Hey, kid, there's 2 black guys. He's one of them. He's not a pwn. He's the other guy. But I kind of wish this guy was the lead, Rico Ross. I really did. I mean, other than, oh shit, this Rico Ross, the guy from Aliens. Craig Fairbrass, he did okay, but he didn't have much to do. I guess the best way to go would be positives and negatives. Positives I can say for the film is that Craig Fairbrass does an okay job as the lead. I don't mind the idea. I mean, you know, it's from a novel called Slimer, and, you know, okay, it has elements of John Carpenter's The Thing, and it's on an oil rig, and I will say this is much better than The Rig with William Forsythe. And again, I think this is an okay time waster, but it's not a film I would buy or look for to own or anything. Yeah, if I was giving it for free, but it is a 3.79 to be, and it's not like I can't understand why. Like, I could defend Leviathan. I'd even defend fucking Deep Star 6, but this, no. I mean, at the end of the day, this review is going to be, I thought it was okay. Time waster, but I'd never see it again. But pause like Craig Fairbrass, the idea, okay, I don't mind the idea behind the film. Sounds like my kind of B movie, and a bunch of people on an oil rig, and they have a bunch of guns. Okay, my kind of movie. You have some good creature effects, some good ones. I mean, there's not tons of makeup creature effects, which was a shame, because you do have a makeup effects guy doing it, and a really good makeup effects guy directing the film. But you don't see like tons of makeup effects, and you get some decent ones, but some of them, either they're a little bit hard to see, or it's not tremendous to run home about. Because most of the time the creature, you just see it from its point of view. And once in a while, you see like, they keep meeting these people, and they think they're people, like they meet a woman and they're older scientist. Like one time they meet an old scientist, and one time they meet a woman, but really it's Charlie. As these personalities trying to fight out of it, but it's really Charlie, you know, mess with them or something. But like you have the woman, you see like a quick shot with like she's got this teeth all over in her mouth. Like when Rico Ross shows them, and then they turn around and they find Rico Ross's creature, you see like his mouth is kind of has been stretched out. You have the scene where later on they're fighting, the lead guy puts a grenade inside the Charlie shirt. You see it blow up, practical. The ending, you have the lead guy's woman, who's of course now part of Charlie, comes out talking to them, and then you see something pop out of her head, because he's going to show his true self. So this thing pops out of her head, and basically it's this giant sort of mutant shark thing. Which, granted, looks a little bit clunky, but it's practical. But you can tell it looks a little too, you know, mechanical. You know, you could tell it's kind of like the shark, the Jaws ride at Universal Studios. In a way, that actually, that did remind me of that, actually. But it was practical. I'm like, okay, for a low-budget film, you know, I'd take this over CGI. So you have a giant sort of shark-like creature that's chasing the lead guy, and the lead guy dumps some stuff and, you know, shoots a flare and it burns. And of course there's a bomb. There's the oil rig is going to blow up, and he's got to get out of there. So, you know, liking the lead guy, some decent makeup effects. The idea, I don't mind the idea behind the film. The reason I didn't really love it that much, and I thought is Granted, because I've seen better stuff, like John Carver's The Thing, like, I do believe Leviathan is better, just from the cast, memorable one-liners, the score, by Jerry Goldsmith, so much other stuff. But maybe because I grew up with Leviathan, I didn't grow up with this film. That could be a factor, too. But the stuff that bothered me about the film was the pacing in this film was a little too slow at times. That's just me. I didn't really like much of the characters. Like, other than the lead guy, like, the lead guy's woman, who's also a undercover police officer, she didn't do anything for me. And the others, they're like drug smugglers. You don't really care about them. The only one is Paul, the captain, his woman, who, that character is Linda, played by Tony Berry. Like, she didn't know that it was about drugs, so, like, Craig Fairbrass, his woman, and Tony Berry are really the only innocent parties. The others knew about the drugs. So it's like, I don't care about these people. They're heroin smugglers, and there's really nothing to their personality that makes me like them. But even the captain's woman, Linda, Tony Berry, she didn't really do anything for me. She was just there. So really, none of the cast really did anything for me other than Craig Fairbrass and, oh shit, there's Rico Ross from Aliens. I wish he was the lead. I think that would have been cool. But the other cast members didn't really do anything for me. You know, and not really any memorable dialogue or funny moments or character interactions I cared for. Like, at least Leviathan is like, you're going, shh, shh, after what we've been through, you know. Or, if I get you to call me Becky one more time, sit back. I'm going to pop your tops. All 6 of them. Like, I had fun with Leviathan. This, I didn't really have lots of fun. Because, like, they have all these guns. That's another problem. Like, other than the cast. I mean, I don't mind the lead guy, but the rest of the cast didn't do anything for me. There's not much action to the film. Like, they have all these guns, but they don't shoot them that much. Like, you know, when they find out Rico Ross, it's like they're trying to shoot, but they don't do much. And then when the lead guy finds out that his woman is a creature, like, he shoots her in the stomach. Like, not a lot of, even though they have tons of guns, there's not a lot of firefights. There's not a lot of, you know, shootouts or anything like that. And you can do that on low budget. Granted, there's not a Leviathan, but I like the characters, the score. There's a lot more to that film that I was entertained by it, other than this. If I don't like the cast, other than the lead guy, and he was okay. And, you know, they're on an oil rig, and the oil rig, it's not like it's any extravagant good production value on the oil rig. I mean, it looks okay for a low budget, but it's not like Ron Cobb's production design Leviathan. And I keep mentioning that because it reminded me most of that film, even though, again, I know the novel came out way before in 1983. I don't care. But, like, the production design, the oil rig didn't do much for me. There wasn't really any memorable, like, dialogue. The music didn't really do anything for me. I know one of the guys who did the music was John Murphy. This is the same guy who did the music for 20 Days Later, 20 Weeks Later, Sunshine. And I really like the score to Sunshine. I think he did some on Kick-Ass as well. And the score here didn't really do anything for me. I thought it was fairly forgettable. I really did. And what else am I talking about? Also, the kills really aren't much to run home about from the creature. Like, you don't see much of the creature. You see most of his point of view. And there's a really fucking annoying thing in which sometimes his point of view is red, sometimes his point of view is blue, and sometimes his point of view is green. I have no fucking idea why. Also, like, it's so convenient at times. For instance, the lead guy finds a videotape. I know, video, but hey, I'm not going to condemn it as a videotape. It was 1995, folks. He finds a videotape, he puts in, it's a scientist talking about what happened. And he says that the thing to slow it down is heroin, which happens to be the same drug that they're smuggling. Thank God they weren't smuggling cocaine, marijuana, LSD, PCP, heroin, the same drug that, you know. And then this thing, like, this creature apparently has a drug addiction, which they could have done more. Look at Icon in Peace. Alien with a drug addiction. Icon in Peace did a lot better. This, they didn't really do much. Maybe they did more in the story, in the novel, I should say. They should have done it. I heard one time there was something about how it gave birth and the baby was like a crack baby. It's funny saying it, but if I can imagine if you handle it with a capable director and stuff, you could probably have a really fucked up movie. Like if David Cronenberg did that movie, if he did this movie and that novel, maybe you'd have something there. David Cronenberg. But you didn't. But yeah, I was talking about convenience, like the heroin thing. Another convenient thing, the captain's woman, Linda, Tony Barry. She just happens to know about DNA. She can look at your computer and go, oh, it's, I know what's going on. Like, wow, thank God one of you happened to help know a shitload about DNA. It's just, convenient stuff like that. But I was talking about, like, the kills aren't really much. The kills, the captain, Paul, he gets pretty much taken. Like, he just grabbed off and then pulled off screen. Craig Fairbrother, the lead guy's woman. She just thrown bad, knocked out on the bed. And then I guess this thing, like, I guess it could turn into it's just one creature, which I thought was weird. At first, I'm like, oh, it's okay, it's infecting this guy and absorbing this guy, so it's a bunch of them. No, it's one creature. So at one time, it's just this, like, it looks like take an eyeball, but put it around with muck and stuff and like a string. And it like floats down, almost like a tendril into the woman's mouth. And I'm like, is that all that Charlie is, that tendril thing? With the eyeball-like thing with the muck over it? Is that Charlie? So what, he goes from like a normal person to a giant fucking shark at the end, so now he's just this eyeball thing, tendril thing that goes down into the woman? Because you don't see the creature any other way. You just see it go down and of course absorbs her. And then, here's this guy who financed it. He like grabs her and you just see from like her red, I think it was red, point of view, and you see like his hand being a little bit mucked up. And then next time you see that, now he's absorbed. And again, it's only one creature. So I'm like, it goes from an eyeball like tendril thing to a person. And I guess you could say the same thing for like John Carpenter's The Thing, but I bought it more in that movie. I really did. And that because, parts of it, became a life of its own. So you can have multiple creatures. Here it's like one creature all the time. It's named Charlie. So then it's this ball thing. I guess that's why I said it's amorphous. I guess that's the reasoning behind it. So maybe I'm being too nitpicky on that. But again, the kills that guy, doesn't do much. Then the airheaded girlfriend of the guy who financed it grabs her, and you see like her legs, you see like green shit falling down her legs, kind of green, sort of blackish shit. I'm like, okay. And then really that's it until the lead guy and the captain's woman, Linda, they're running around. Oh, do I trust you? No, I don't. No, here's my boy, the Captain Paul. No, he's not human. And then ultimately they're mucking about, and that's when Craig Fairbrother puts a grenade down, Charlie's, and it blows up. And he's going to get a flamethrower and burn it. But then that's when Doug Bradley, who sort of owns the place, or he financed the whole biological experiment, and his men come. But of course Charlie comes in, pretty much kills Doug Bradley, shoves this thing down Doug Bradley's mouth. And again, good, decent makeup effect where you see like part of like Doug Bradley's head sort of deflates, like he's being absorbed, but before he can fully get, Doug Bradley hits a switch that's going to blow up the place. And like it has tendrils and like cut a guy's neck. And then that's where you get the ending with the giant shark thing. And Craig Fairbrother basically burns it, and it falls down, and it blows up. Then him and the woman get to the helicopter, And then fucking sequel bait, where that pilot, you know, you see it sort of him look in the camera and it close to his eye, and you get the idea that, oh, he's Charlie. Wait, how the fuck does that work? He was over here, getting killed as a giant, I don't want to say sewer shark, giant shark creature blown up. Then here's the pilot over here, and I'm like, how does that work? It's not, again, it's not saying like John Carpenter's a thing where it could be multiple creatures. It's saying it's one creature. That's what I understood. Maybe I understood it wrong. And it's like other stuff that it's like, at the beginning of the film, it starts with the lead guy being interrogated by a guy smoking a cigarette. That's the first shot of the film. It never goes back to that. Not even at the ending. It never goes back. But then you get to the ending and it has a sequel bait. So it sets up with him being interrogated by this guy smoking a cigarette. And again, it never goes back to that scene. It's like, why did you have that scene in the movie if you weren't going to follow through by the end? And also, why do you need a sequel bait ending? I hate sequel bait endings. It's just, that's one of the pet peeves of mine. It's like, oh, let's kill the funny black guy. Same with, you know, sequel bait endings. It's just very cliche, and it's... Like, genre was the thing, and it was a question mark. Mystery. The fight, then no sequel bait ending. Here, I just, you know, I didn't like that. So, yeah, I mean, I know I seem like go over the overview. It was an okay time wasted. Like, I didn't get pissed. Like, Point Blank with fucking Mickey Ward, that's a shitty movie. I was being lenient on it, but it's not like I like the movie. I don't like Point Blank at all. I'm just saying if I saw it for $1, okay, I'll put it in the collection. Weirdly enough, I say that, but I wouldn't put this in collection. I think I was just trying to be lenient on that film, but I really don't give a fuck about Point Blank, and really I don't give a fuck about this movie. If I'm not willing to buy them for $1, then I guess I don't care. Like Point Blank, I was lenient. I don't know why I said. But anyway, I don't like Point Blank with Mickey Ward. It's just, they're both like time wasters I watch. I wasn't pissed, but at the same time, I didn't like it that much. You know what I mean? I guess maybe that's what a time waster is. Like, I didn't rant on it. I'm not pissed, but I don't really care to see it again. It's weird reviewing movies like those. Like, I'm not pissed enough to say, oh, fuck this movie, but I'm not like, okay. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Point Blank. Especially, real quick, like, when that film, I realized almost has the same rating as Deadly Outbreak with Jesse Pinkman. Fuck that. Deadly Outbreak with Jesse Pinkman is a billion times better. But anyway, back to this film. 3.7 on Proteus. I can understand it. I mean, lead guy was alright. Idea, okay. Some decent makeup effects, but really that's... The rest of it I just didn't really care for. I was kind of bored. Most of the cast I didn't care for. Stuff that didn't make sense to me. There was a lack of action. When I thought they had all these guns, I thought, okay, it's fun. Like, there's a lot of low-budget films that have a lot of action. Even Dog Soldiers have a lot of, you know, action. This didn't. Not following through on stuff. Or just not really being that entertaining, I guess, at the end of the day. It wasn't really that entertaining of a movie to me. So, you know, I'm not sure this guy DVD release. I know it was on YouTube. That's where I saw it, on YouTube. So you can type in Proteus 1995, you'll find it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was what it was. And it wasn't really... I didn't get mad, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay. Don't need to see it again. So I guess it's one of those films. So, yeah, released by Vidmark Entertainment. Usually those films are not the best quality. John Brosnan, unfortunately the guy passed away, but I guess actually on Starburst he was actually a critic, so he was actually criticizing other sci-fi films. Grant, I'm sorry that the guy passed away, but you know, you're critiquing stuff and then you write a movie. I think maybe it was a better script than the movie. I don't know. Maybe the novel's better. I don't know, but nah, I'll stick with Leviathan. I'll end it with that. You know, say motherfucker. Remember, you call me Becky one more time, sits back, we'll pop your tops, all 6 of them.